Right, welcome to lesson number 2. So now what we're going to be talking about is the market opportunity and why this is going to be one of the easiest things to actually get clients for, because it's simply the most in-demand role in 2025. Like, you have no idea how many brands are actively looking for someone that can do this well. I've said this numerous times in my emails, and you've probably bought this course from coming from my emails or my YouTube, but all of my friends own e-commerce brands and they're all constantly looking for new creative strategists, constantly. So if you can get good at this, it's going to be so easy for you to actually land a role or get clients. So, like I said, I noticed from my own experience in starting an e-com brand for myself that this creative role is the single best skill to learn, and it's the most in demand because it's actually quite hard to do. But the number of brands that desperately need this person is probably in the tens of thousands, and they fall into two brackets. So this is the two kind of brands that you're going to be going for, right? So the normies, so these are brands that are stuck below 50k a month in revenue, or even maybe 100k a month in revenue. They're barely profitable. They have no idea how to scale on cold traffic. They're still using stuff like interest-based targeting and lookalikes on Meta, thinking that actually makes a difference. They're using unscripted review ads, basic static ads, and they're burning money left and right. This is going to be your like unaware or problem-aware prospect. So they might not even be aware that there's a problem. They're just quite happy spending $1,000 a day and they're making a little bit more back. They don't know how to really scale. They might have a product and a market and an offer that can really scale, like to millions a month, but they just don't know how to. So they don't actually know that that is a possibility. Or they might be bleeding money, but they're problem aware and they don't know that there's a solution to their problem. But you can literally be the catalyst for a brand like this to go to from 50k a month to 500k a month. Now that sounds unbelievable, but see, for that to happen, all you need is a few really good ads. 1 to 5. One ad could take you from 50k a month to 500k a month if it's a really good ad. But the problem with this bracket and bucket of people, like the normies, is overcoming their objections and their limiting beliefs. So common objections that you're going to face with these types of people is, we tried Facebook ads before, they didn't work. Our product's different. We're all about brand here. We can't afford to spend money on this advertising. Influencers and organics working fine, or but we have a good ROAS when we're spending 1k a day, stuff like that. But you need to be the one to educate them, and you can actually transform their business, and you're going to get paid a shit ton too, and rev shares and even equity is highly viable here. The reason for that is, when you come in at 50k a month and you scale them to 500k a month, they're never going to want to lose you, so they'll pay you whatever you want. What makes them perfect is they're desperate for growth, but they just don't know how. They're usually bootstrapped, so they're quite motivated to get going. Small teams means that you can get direct access to decision makers, and there's room to negotiate like good deals with them, because you're taking them from 0 to basically 10, or 1 to 10, and they'll worship you when you 10x their business. So I've actually got like ad libraries here from two types. So this is your kind of normie brand, right? You can see they're running 48 ads. Some of them are actually inactive, right? But they're running like...
So I turn 50 next year. The things that are starting to bother me is, first, my hooded eyes.
So this is just like a very simple 25-second ad. It's like, you're not going to be able to scale that on cold traffic. 25 seconds. They need like 3-4 minute explainer VSLs. Look, like, and the thing is, they're 48 ads. Look, they're using 4 ads and 4 creatives. So you can tell that what they're doing here is they're probably running this ad and 4 different ad sets, testing out audiences. Like, it's simple to see that. They don't need to be doing that. They need to be testing more creatives. And you can come in here and be like, look, a 19-second video like this, that's just never going to scale on cold traffic. That's never going to work. You can just tell with these ads that they're not going to be able to scale on cold traffic. This is probably their best ad, a decent before and after. That's probably their best ad. But you could easily come in and be like, look, I'll go for the outreach in a different video. But this is your normie brand, okay? Then you have the chads. This is your second type of brand, the second bucket of prospects. These brands are scaling. They're hitting high 6 figures a month, maybe even millions a month. Now, these people are actively looking for creative strategists. They probably already have multiple creative strategists and copywriters already on their payroll. They understand what works. They know exactly who and what they're looking for. Now, the cons of this: you need to be good to get hired. It will be to their structure, not yours. You're going to come in, they're going to tell you how to write, they're going to tell you how many ads they need to write. You'll basically be more of an employee for them, okay? The plus side, you're going to learn an absolute shit ton, because you're going to get feedback from scalers who are literally just printing cash, and the chances are you can still bag yourself a hefty retainer or salary with a decent performance bonus. like rev share on your ads maybe. Now, what these brands are going to be looking for is probably some sort of proven track record or just proof that you can write good VSLs, understanding their specific market and niche, ability to work with established systems. So they're going to want you to come in and be like, look, this is how it's done in our brand, this is how you're going to do it. And then they need speed and volume. That's probably the most important thing for these people. Now, this is like your Chads. Now, these guys aren't even running that many, but 380 is a decent amount of ads. And like, let's just look at some of the ads that they're running.
Don't get caught playing in winter without.
So that was a 32 second, 40 second. Interesting.
This is not just
46 second VSL.
Guys, you
And our 44 second. I would expect these guys to be running something actually a little bit more.
Have you ever heard? You know, I was in a bike
But
crash.
as you can see, they've got a bunch of ads. Now, you can already tell that these ads are so much
You know, I was in
better.
a bike crash a couple of years back, and that left.
That's actually a bit risky. Little Joe Rogan stuff there. But you can tell that these ads are a lot more storytelling, they're
absolutely
problem
fucked
solving.
up. But I started
this is
using
going
that
to work so
Lee-wide-
much better than that previous brand that we were looking at. And you can just tell with the amount of ads that these guys are running, they are scaling hard. And like if we go down to the bottom and let's see like some of their longest running ads.
if your knee snaps, crack. If your knee pain keeps.
That's actually crazy they're running with 47 second
If your knee
VSLs.
pain keeps.
I've never really seen
I
that.
canceled my
But
surgery.
anyway, so that's like your Chad brand, okay? Now, why this is the opportunity is because these roles aren't easy. Writing cold copy is not easy, but that's what makes it the single biggest opportunity and best opportunity in 2025 and beyond. It's because hardly anybody knows how to do it well. And I'll tell you one thing, no one is actively reaching out to these brands and offering banging copy. Everybody's reaching out to them saying, hey, I can write your emails. Like everybody's doing that, but nobody is coming into a brand like this Normie brand and saying, hey, here's a 4.5 minute VSL script. I can also help you get this edited and scale you on cold traffic. Like nobody's doing that, right? And this is the thing, even landing one of these clients or one of these roles could put you at a 6-figure yearly income plus rev shares and equity. And there's literally brands that are paying recruitment agencies thousands to find people like this, to find people that you could fill that role. Like imagine a brand they're paying a recruitment agency, I don't know how many thousands of pounds. We want to find someone who can fill this role. And then you just reach out to them into their DMs or their email inbox and it's like, here's a 7-minute VSL script that I wrote for you. I changed this angle. They're going to be like, you're hired. Do you know what I mean? So this is not a case of spraying and praying thousands of cold emails. That is not what's going to be happening here. You're literally selling a service and skilled, and you're not trying to sell a service or skill that nobody wants. You're going to have the most in-demand skill in online business. Think about it. These brands are spending money on paid ads. They put $1 in and they get 2 out. Now imagine if you're the person that turns that $2 out into $3 or $4. And hopefully you're smart enough to realize that this scales. I'm not talking about dollars, I'm talking about millions. If you help a brand put 1 mil in and 3 or 4 mil out instead of 2 mil out, it's going to be very easy for you to ask for a 10k a month salary. Now, the numbers, conservative estimate. If you land just one 5k a month retainer client or one 5k a month in-house client, that's 60k a year. Let's say you even get a 2% rev share on that, on a 2 mil a year brand, that's another 40k. That's 100k a year from one client. Now, most people are going to kill for that income. And see, for this, you're probably going to be working about 2 hours a day, like literally. You can stop there if you want. You've got a salary. But I know that there's some people that's going to want more, but you're going to, if you can do this systematically as well, like most freelancers are still competing for like one-off projects, like $2,000 email build or whatever. You're going to be positioning yourself as someone who can actually come in and write the ads that's going to help a brand go from 100k a month to 500k a month. So it's going to be very easy for you to get like 5-10k a month from one single brand. Now, why brands are desperate right now? Ecom brands still think that media buying is the skill and it's not. Creative strategy is. And the solution, which is you're going to bring, is creative that works in cold traffic, that's not worrying about lookalike audiences and all that shit, because that shit does not work anymore. Now, this is where the skill gap is massive. Most copywriters are coming from like the guru core space or maybe even ecom, but they're writing to warm audiences on social media, email or landing pages. This is totally different because you're writing cold traffic. You need to like be able to hook someone in 3 seconds or they're gone. Direct response skills are an absolute must, and you need to know visual storytelling, not just text. And you need to understand angles, markets, avatars and different ad concepts. Very few people understand all of that and know how to write really good scripts. Now, this is what you're going to be competing against. Overseas agencies charging 2k for absolute shit, local agencies that don't understand performance marketing. This is going to be the agencies that's running fancy statics and they're testing like this one. They're testing the same ad on 4 different audiences. That does not work. Big agencies that are charging tens of thousands plus ad spend, you come in and you can undercut them. Freelancers who just learn from copywriting from YouTube and they're reaching out, just asking a brand, can I be your copywriter? Or their cousin who knows social media. Now, obviously, the different brackets, you're going to be, if you're going for the Chads, you're going to be competing with the big agencies who charge a lot of money. If you go for the normie brands, you're probably going to be competing with these people. Now, the bar is still incredibly low. When you show up with an actual strategy, an understanding of their business, and some scripts that you've written for them or some ad creators that you've gotten for them, you're going to look like a fucking genius. Now, this is the compound effect. You land your first client, right? So you get your first role. You get an amazing case study and a testimonial. Now, when you go into another role or get another client, you can charge 2x for the next client. Get results for 3 or 4 brands, and then you can start being selective, charge really big rates, and pick the best opportunities. Now, within about 12 to 18 months, right? This could be 6 months, it could be 12 months, it could be 2 years, whatever. You could be turning down 10k a month offers. You could be consulting for 8-figure brands. You could build an agency, or you could start taking equity and stakes in really good brands, or you can combine all the skills and experience, combine that with the cash that you've stacked, and build your own brand. So this isn't like a side hustle, this isn't any type of arbitrage, you're literally just learning the most in-demand skill and probably the best skill that you can learn to actually make money online, because you're learning how to make creative and write copy that goes behind paid ads. So that is like what is better than being able to write ads where you can just put it into the money printer, $1 in, $2 out, $2 in, $4 out. That's how it works. This is going to be your legitimate path to wealth. So that is the opportunity that lays ahead of you. So make sure that you go through this full course. And if you just stick at this, you're going to land a role within a few weeks, if not a few months, and you're pretty much sorted. So that is it for this lesson, and I will see you guys in the next one.